On Beyond Stardom this time, 5 limelight hoggers who know how to work the red carpet. This former US president left the White House with the highest public approval rate of any American leader since World War II. And on handing over the presidency on such a high note in 2001, after 2 exhausting terms in office, Bill Clinton could have been forgiven for putting his feet up and taking it easy. In fact, the boy from Arkansas has never been busier.
Mr. President, I have a very important question for you. What does a former Mr. President do?
Well, Cammie, one of the things I do is talk to people about things that are important to them, about things that will make a difference in their lives.
Oh, yes?
On this occasion, what was important to him was sending a message of tolerance and understanding ahead of World AIDS Day, with the awareness-raising help of HIV-positive Moppet, Cammie.
And I like to talk to parents about how important it is to listen to their children and how to help to take care of each other.
Yes. And do you tell everybody that it is okay to hug someone who is HIV positive like me?
I sure do, Cammie.
That makes me very happy.
Give me a hug. Make a difference. Talk to your children about HIV and AIDS.
Bill's own ability to make a difference has made him a red-hot item on the speaking circuit. Since leaving office, he has been making a crust by delivering inspirational speeches to corporations and philanthropic groups, charging between $10,000 and $30,000 per engagement. Between 2001 and 2005, he reportedly pulled in around $30 million from this enterprise alone. He has also been using his political know-how and star power to boost the campaigns of his Democratic comrades. He's certainly been a very handy ally in his wife's presidential offensive. As well as making speeches in support of Hillary, he's also been very active in raising funds for her campaign. Perhaps some of those funds have come from sales of Bill's 2004 autobiography, My Life, which his publisher claims set a worldwide record for single-day non-fiction book sales. Bill wrote the book longhand in 27 notebooks over a period of 2 years, and the published memoir came in at nearly 1,000 pages long. At a book signing launch in Harlem, New York, punters were keen to find out whether Bill had spilled the beans on the scandalous liaison with intern Monica Lewinsky that had nearly capsized his presidency. Others just wanted to show their love for the man who writer Toni Morrison once dubbed as America's first black president due to his dedication to improving racial relations.
I'm really not interested in his private life. I think he was a wonderful president. He brought us all a great sense of our country being a great and good place to live, and we felt grateful to be Americans.
Myself, I happen to love the guy. Always did. His personal life is his personal life. My time, I think it was the best president that we ever had.
Having sold around 500,000 copies of his book, Bill's next commercial endeavor was to release a compilation CD of his favorite songs under the rather wordy title, The Bill Clinton Collection, Selections from the Clinton Music Room. The so-called rock and roll president, whose misspent youth included smoking pot and playing the saxophone, put together a very laid-back selection of tunes that had formed the soundtrack to his presidency.
Things personally about being president has been the music and the way I could just sort of swallow up all my musical interests, you know. It's been great.
While the likes of Miles Davis, Nina Simone and Judy Collins made it to the final cut, many commentators were shocked by the omission of the song that had formed a major part of his re-election campaign.
The first song I would have expected to see on the record, of course, is Don't Stop by Fleetwood Mac.
The proceeds of the CD went to his William J. Clinton Foundation, which supports a raft of humanitarian causes. In 2005, he also set up the Clinton Global Initiative, dedicated to addressing world problems such as public health, poverty alleviation, and religious and ethnic conflict. And at a recent launch of an MTV-sponsored event, he was on hand to inspire young people to get more actively involved in social and political issues.
The AIDS medicine that they need to stay alive.
And I'll tell you what happened, it'll probably be so narcotic for you, you'll wind up giving 4 and 6 and 8 and do less of something else. Just start. Just take the first step. Don't be hung up.
This Spice Girl was quoted by a Spanish journalist as saying she'd never read a book in her whole life. Victoria Beckham later claimed that something had been lost in translation. What she'd actually said was that she never has time to finish a book because she's always running after her 3 exotically named children. But as soon as Brooklyn, Romeo and Cruz had all grown out of nappies, she decided it was time to dust off those vocal cords, jump back on the spice rack and head off on tour.
I think, you know, like I said in the press conference, this is great for our children to actually see what we used to do. I think it's fantastic. I know that's one of my main reasons for actually doing this is for my kids to go, wow, you know, Mum used a Spice Girl.
I'm sure the kids were also glad of the boost that the sellout reunion tour stood to give to their trust funds. Not that the boys are ever likely to find themselves short of a bob or two. Posh and her soccer star husband's fortune is estimated at well over £100 million, without counting the $250 million David stands to earn from his deal with LA Galaxy. Since the Spice Girls split in the 1990s, most of the family's income has been generated by David's footballing and advertising efforts, as Victoria's repeated attempts to ignite a solo career have failed to reach the end of the fuse. It's fair to say that bringing up 3 children, looking after the family's financial interests and hanging off the arm of soccer's hottest pin-up is a full-time job in itself. But with little on her CV to justify the level of media attention she attracts, many commentators are left scratching their heads when it comes to defining her charms. In 2007, when she signed up for a reality show, Victoria Beckham Coming to America, it begged the question.
Can you watch her going through her regular life, and will that be as interesting? Are you going to watch her shopping, going to fashion shows, having lunch? How interesting is that? If she's got, we haven't really seen her personality. Certainly the Americans don't know. Is she funny? Is she witty? What's she interested in? She could potentially make herself quite a big star, or it may bore them.
The show was savaged by the media and critics, who called it an orgy of self-indulgence, although it didn't fare badly in the ratings. After pondering Victoria's motivation, Nadine Mendoza concluded,
she hasn't been photographed smiling since the South African tour that Prince Charles took Prince Henry to. You haven't seen her as a warm person. Perhaps seeing her move, seeing her work and interact with people, maybe she'd like to show the real person and who she really is.
Or perhaps the pursed lips and frosty glares were all just a part of the carefully constructed public persona.
Well, you mean, sometimes you look, maybe it's because you're hounded by the paparazzi, I don't know, but sometimes you do look like a little bit like I woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
You know, it's an image. I think there are some people that would be quite devastated. Should I actually smile or look pleasant for that fact?
There was certainly no danger of devastating anyone with an unexpected smile in a revealing 2007 photo shoot for which she and David stripped down to their underwear. Striking a collection of steamy poses, the W magazine spread gave a timely leg up to their cause of conquering America. Victoria's ambitions of making it in the US were certainly not harmed by worming her way into the affections of Katie Holmes in the lead-up to her marriage to Tom Cruise. According to the gossip magazines, Victoria offered herself up to the frumpy bride-to-be as something of a style guru, and since then the sister shopaholics have been practically inseparable. When Posh and Bex arrived in LA, Tom and Katie introduced them to the neighbours with a suitably lavish bash. With friends like that, who needs to rein in their dubious fashion sense?
I'm having fun. I like fashion. Fashion is about expressing yourself. It's about being free. It's about expressing who you are and the mood that you're in, experimenting. I'm a huge fan of Karl Lagerfeld, and if he says that's cool, then that's good enough for me. I don't really care what anyone else says.
This Spanish heartthrob put paid to his dreams of becoming a professional soccer player when he broke his foot at the age of 14. Still, Antonio Banderas certainly hasn't done badly at his second-choice career. After working in small theatres in Spain from the age of 19, he started garnering international attention with his roles in the films of Pedro Almodóvar. Since arriving in America in the early 90s, he's enjoyed blockbusting success in mainstream fare like Desperado, Philadelphia, Mask of Zorro, and Once Upon a Time in America. His rugged looks and exotic accent have helped him corner the market in lovable, gun-toting, swashbuckling rogues. In 2005, when he arrived on set to start filming the Zorro sequel, Legend of Zorro, he found he'd lost none of his touch, despite the 7-year gap.
No, you don't start all over again. Sword fighting is a little bit like riding a bicycle. Once you learn it, you don't forget that. Basically, what we do is just to learn all the choreographies, knowing at the same time that we have swords in our hands that is potentially dangerous. And when you're working with those things for 14 hours, situations start getting funny. People getting out of focus and swords going everywhere, even the eyes. So it's fun and it's not fun.
The same year, his contribution to Hollywood was honoured with a star on the Walk of Fame, and Antonio was reminded how far he'd come in 15 years.
I was walking in that place where my heroes worked and lived and took the weird decision of becoming immortal. Storytellers, dream makers, professional liars, beauty sellers. Yes, I remember going back to my hotel. From my room, I could see the face of a beautiful woman. Blonde, pensive, with the New York skyline behind her. On the billboard was written, Melanie Griffith, working girl.
Proving that Hollywood really is a place where dreams come true, he ended up working with the girl on the billboard on the set of Too Much in 1995, and after divorcing his first wife, went on to marry Melanie the year after. And just to remind amorous co-stars that Antonio is well and truly taken, the shrewd and ever-watchful Melanie has his name tattooed on her arm. And she kept a beady eye on her heartthrob husband while he was starring in the 2003 hit musical 9. He had to answer carefully when asked how he enjoyed working with so many women.
More than the girls, because my wife is, I'm enjoying their talent. I'm enjoying their personalities, and when you are working with people like Chita Rivera, Jane Krakowski, my student master song, Laura Benanti, it's just like going to the stage with angels every day. I'm having a great time, my friend.
He went on to score a Tony Award nomination for his belter of a performance in 9, capitalizing on the great vocal talents he showed off in the 1996 film adaptation of Evita. But despite all of Antonio's mainstream success, he is much more at home making more challenging independent films.
I used to say, and I said it in Spain, and I'm going to repeat it now, that probably the worst enemy for my own movie is myself. Because the people has an image of me, a very commercial actor who does these big blockbusters like Zorro, Desperados, Shrek, and movies like that. And suddenly, it's kind of surprising that people, I think when they go to the movie theater and they said to them, you know, you want to see a coming-of-age movie, they are expecting something absolutely different to what the movie actually is. And they got very surprised. They even asked me if I did it. When I was doing it, somebody said in Malaga, oh no, he may stay in his house, and they sent him the tapes and he approved them or not. So in a way I became my own enemy, but I feel much more represented myself in Crossing Alabama and in this movie El Camino de los Ingleses than I do probably in the other 73 movies that I have done in my life. So.
To help dispel the blockbuster image and find his true voice as an artist, he's moved up to the challenge of directing his own movies. 18 years after collecting negative reviews for his first directorial outing, Crazy in Alabama, in 1989, he took on the task of bringing the coming-of-age story El Camino de los Ingleses to the big screen.
Camino de los Ingleses is a geographic place in Malaga. It's the name of the street. But immediately in the movie get metaphorized. And it means a place that we all have to cross when we go from being a teenager to be an adult person. That's what it is in the movie.
And while Antonio hopes eventually to follow in the footsteps of the great actor-turned-director Clint Eastwood, he has very humble hopes for his movie.
Sometimes people ask me, what are your expectations for the movie? And in reality, I think expectations is the mother of all frustrations. But my only expectation is to have the possibility of continue developing my language and my style. And that's what I really am searching for, to have that opportunity. That's the only thing that I ask for my movie. I not only even ask the audiences an applause or not even respect. What I want from the audiences right now is just an hour and 50 minutes of attention.
This faux blonde bombshell once stood up in the school playground and claimed, "I am the new Marilyn Monroe." Apparently, the declaration was no surprise to Sharon Stone's mother, who admitted that her daughter had been posing since the day she arrived. Despite her alleged IQ of 154 and her stunning looks, Sharon's journey to stardom was a long and arduous one, full of false starts and near misses. At the age of 32, she was still struggling to get bit parts and posed nude in an issue of Playboy magazine in order to pay for renovations on her house. In fact, she would never have scored her career-making role as the predatory Catherine Trammell in 1992's Basic Instinct if the part hadn't already been turned down by 13 other actresses, including Gina Davis, Julia Roberts, and Michelle Pfeiffer. Still, she turned out to be the perfect fit for the bisexual serial killer who uses her sexuality as a weapon, wrapping men and women around her little finger with ease. It's a skill she's managed to use for good instead of evil in her private life. A fierce champion of the fight against HIV/AIDS, she's been using every last one of her powers of persuasion to swell the coffers of American Foundation for AIDS Research at the growing number of AMFAR events that have sprung up around the world.
This is our first Rome AMFAR. The first Cannes AMFAR made less than $200,000. Last year we made $7 million. So somewhere between $200,000 and $7 million will be a win.
At the Cannes Film Festival in 2007, she was revved up and ready to roll.
Well, you know, I'll be up there doing that auction, as I always am, and helping the show move itself along.
And a ballroom full of A-list celebrities and their wallets waited in trepidation.
It's madness, it's fun. Sharon Stone is brilliant at parting very rich people with their money, and she should, you know, have been a loan shark. She's fantastic. It's a sight to behold.
As chief auctioneer, she beat up the bidding to sell 2 kisses from George Clooney for a whopping $700,000. Then she fearlessly took to the mic with pop princess Kylie Minogue, treating her generous guests to a duet. Sharon also put her star power to work as the face of Dior Cosmetics. Clad in a blood-red velvet dress with plunging neckline, fishnet stockings and silver high heels, she showed that women in their 40s could be every inch as sexy as their younger sisters. She had warm words of praise for the Dior house and its creator, the late Christian Dior.
Mr. Dior had a vision. He knew what was taste, he knew what was style, and he knew what made a woman pretty. And I don't think that's changed from 1947 until now.
But it's not just the material world that has Sharon's attention. In recent years, she's shown a strong interest in spirituality, with a conversion to Buddhism supplanting her earlier involvement with the Church of Scientology. Since being introduced to the faith by Richard Gere, she has become an ardent follower. After starring in the 2007 ensemble movie Bobby, she turned down the chance to promote the film at the Venice Festival in order to hear the Dalai Lama speak in LA.
Well, to listen to the teachings of His Holiness is a very extraordinary thing, because when you are with someone who's incredibly intelligent, incredibly wise, and very, very loving, I think in any circumstance, the speak is very simple. And his subject is very simple, that we must behave compassionately and thoughtfully to one another.
This super fit actress went to high school with Natasha Kinski, Timothy Hutton, and Red Hot Chili Peppers frontman Anthony Kiedis. But then she did go to school in LA. After that, she became a pin-up model while working at a collections agency. At the age of 17 in 1979, she married singer-songwriter Freddie Moore. And when they divorced 6 years later, she kept his last name. She made her own name as part of the Brat Pack in the 1980s, in teen movie hits like St. Elmo's Fire and About Last Night. She met and married action hero Bruce Willis in 1987, just before her career went nuclear. Thanks to a string of big-ticket successes like Ghost, A Few Good Men, Indecent Proposal and Disclosure, she was the first actress to carry a $10 million price tag. Then in 1991, she shocked the world by appearing nude and heavily pregnant on the cover of Vanity Fair. And as the 90s progressed, 2 more pregnancies, public stoushes with her alcoholic mother and her own battle with the bottle, saw Demi's career and marriage take a nosedive. She and Bruce divorced in 1998, and little more was heard about her until she emerged from the surf as the buffed and bronze angel gone bad Madison Lee in 2003's Charlie's Angels Full Throttle. Despite her extended absence from the screen, Demi was reticent about labeling the role as a comeback.
Comeback would imply that I've left, and I didn't really leave. I just was focusing on something else. So, just, you know, so I don't really look at it like and mostly because I didn't make a conscious decision that I'm rejecting this. There was nothing that motivated me that I'm not going to do this. So for me, it's just a shift of focus.
One of her chief motivations in accepting the role was the fervour with which producer Drew Barrymore pursued her.
I did get a lot of very passionate messages on my voicemail, which were just adorable and wonderful and warm. And, you know, when you look at life and you look at the category of life's too short, when you're looking at something where you're feeling the energy that is so passionate and a level of enthusiasm that was truly infectious, that it was, you know, impossible to ignore.
Sources claimed that getting into shape for the scantily clad role included signing up for nips and tucks to the value of $200,000. The stunning result no doubt helped turn the head of 25-year-old punk star Ashton Kutcher when they met in 2004. Despite all the tabloid fuss, the 15-year age gap proved no barrier to their romance, and by the next year, with Bruce Willis's blessing, they were getting married.
You know, I think it's just been like a lifelong journey of learning about love. I think that's like, I really kind of feel like that's what we're here for. It's like our entire life is based on learning about love. I don't think you ever stop learning, and I think as long as you have a desire to continue to learn, I think it will come to you in many ways.
Since then, Demi has been soaking up the limelight, garnering great reviews for playing a washed-up singer in Bobby and starring opposite Kevin Costner in the psychological thriller Mr. Brooks.